Hello, my beautiful and radiant Leo souls. Welcome back to Cosmic Wisdom, your sacred space for illuminating the profound truths written in the stars and within your own magnificent heart. I am your guide, and if this message has found you right here in this very moment, I want you to truly understand that the universe has made a divine appointment with your spirit. This is no accident. Pause with me for just a moment. Before we journey into the heart of this message, find a quiet space. Let the world outside fade away. Take a deep, intentional breath in, filling your lungs with golden solar light. Hold it, feeling your own inner fire, your own radiant power. And now, exhale slowly, releasing any shadows, any doubts, any whispers that do not belong to you. Let your royal shoulders relax. Allow the fortress around your generous heart to soften just a little. Because there is a truth waiting to be spoken today, a truth that your soul has been aching to hear. There is a subtle yet deeply unsettling energy swirling within your kingdom, right in your inner circle, perhaps even under your own roof. Someone in your family, yes, from within your own pride, finds it difficult to sleep at night when they think of your triumphs. They cannot summon a genuine smile for your victories. They feel a shadow pass over their own heart every single time your light shines a little brighter. If this resonates even a little, I want you to do something sacred for yourself right now. Commit to your own truth by commenting below, "I am ready to own my light and stand in my truth." Let this be a declaration to the cosmos. And if you have not yet joined our Pride, press that subscribe button now. Do not see it as a click, but as an act of choosing to nourish your spirit, to honor the magnificent journey you are on. The most painful part of this cosmic drama, my dear Leo, is that your beautiful, generous, sun-kissed heart probably still tries to bring this person closer into your warmth. You share your triumphs. You offer them the best seat in your kingdom. You shower them with the unconditional love that flows so naturally from you, never realizing that every ray of your light is feeding a silent, creeping shadow called envy. I am not speaking of simple admiration, magnificent soul. I am not talking about the healthy rivalry between siblings who push each other to be better. No, we are venturing into a much deeper, more sacred territory today. We are speaking of a toxic, visceral envy, a poison that seeps from an unhealed wound within their soul and manifests as behaviors disguised as family concern or just being honest. This person looks at your radiant being and sees a brilliant, painful mirror reflecting everything they believe they are not. They see your effortless confidence, a quality they have never been able to cultivate. They see your natural ability to attract love and loyalty, while they feel they must constantly perform and beg for mere attention. They see your creative fire, your ability to turn the mundane into something magical, while their own world feels gray and devoid of inspiration. And do you know what the cruelest cosmic joke of all is, beautiful Leo? You aren't even trying to outshine them. You are simply being. But that right there is the very heart of the matter. Your authentic, unfiltered existence, the way you laugh from your belly, the way you walk into a room, and the energy instantly shifts, your innate generosity, your power to lead with your heart. All of this is a constant, unintentional affront to a soul living in a state of internal chaos, a soul who has forgotten their own light. The envy that so many feel towards you does not stem from a single thing you do. It stems from the very essence of who you are. You are ruled by the sun, the center of the solar system, the giver of all life and light. You were born to shine, And when that envy comes from within the sacred circle of your own family, the poison feels 1,000 times more potent. Why? Because it has a backstage pass to your life. It has access to your most vulnerable moments, your secret fears, the quiet insecurities you only share with those you believe are your safest harbor. Let's be truly honest with our hearts for a moment. Have you ever felt it? That person in your family who always seems to have a helpful criticism wrapped in a cloak of concern. The one who, just as you are soaring with joy over an achievement, finds the one tiny cloud in your brilliant blue sky. Oh, that's wonderful, you got the promotion, but aren't you worried about the extra stress? Have you noticed the way they seem to physically recoil when someone else praises you in their presence? How they expertly steer the conversation away from your good news and back towards something mundane, or even more tellingly, back toward themselves, my dear Leo. That person is not simply having a bad day. They are not just being practical. Their soul is being consumed by the slow burn of envy, and your light is the fuel. Familial envy is a uniquely devastating experience because it attacks the very foundation of your kingdom, the belief that your family is your sacred sanctuary. As a Leo, your loyalty is legendary. Your heart is your domain, and your family are the most honored members of your court. You invest your time, your boundless energy, your emotional and material resources into them without a second thought. You believe that blood is the most sacred bond, that your pride is forever. So when you begin to sense that someone within this hallowed circle is secretly, silently wishing for your light to dim, it feels as if the ground beneath your throne is turning to sand. It is a betrayal of the highest cosmic order. But let us dive deeper, shall we? Why are you magnificent, Leo, so often the target of this shadowy energy? Let me be devastatingly clear. With all the love in my heart, it is because you possess a form of alchemy that most souls only dream of. You know how to create pure, unadulterated joy. Not the fleeting, filtered happiness we see curated on social media. I'm talking about the real thing. The deep, roaring, heartfelt joy that comes from living authentically, from loving with your entire being, from finding the sublime in the simple, and from not needing a constant chorus of external applause to feel worthy of your own crown. You, dear Leo, have this divine ability to take even the most limited resources and spin them into a rich and abundant reality. Not a cold, ostentatious wealth, but the true wealth that warms the soul, a home filled with laughter and light friendships that are forged in loyalty and fire, a life that has texture, meaning, and a grand, beautiful purpose. While others are restlessly chasing the next trend, the next dopamine hit, the next fleeting validation, you are there planting a garden of joy, building a kingdom of love that is meant to last, and radiating a beauty that comes from the very core of your being. And oh, your emotional stability is another blinding source of envy for the insecure. It is not that you do not feel my goodness. A Leo feels everything with the passion of 1,000 suns, but you have a kingly or queenly capacity to remain centered when chaos erupts. You do not thrive on drama. You command it to cease. You are the calm, powerful center of the storm, and your very presence can bring peace to a chaotic situation. This is profoundly unsettling to those who weaponize chaos to gain attention or to manipulate others. Your inner peace is a cruel, silent mirror to their own internal war. And your loyalty, my magnificent Leo, your glorious, unwavering, lion-hearted loyalty, this too can stir the murky waters of envy. We live in a world where connections are often treated as disposable, where commitment is seen as a cage, and where true loyalty is dismissed as naive. And there you stand, a living testament to the fact that it is possible to love deeply, fiercely, and with enduring devotion. You prove that loyalty is not an obligation, but a conscious, powerful choice born from the heart. This is a profound irritant to those who cannot seem to maintain a single meaningful connection, who skip from person to person, leaving a trail of broken promises in their wake. Your natural sense of style, your creative flair. This is another trigger. You have a divine gift for creating beauty without effort. Your home feels like a palace, even on a modest budget. Your personal style is a statement not because you follow trends, but because you are a trendsetter. You have an intuitive grasp of what is beautiful, what is noble, what is worthy. And this deeply irritates those who spend fortunes trying to purchase the kind of authentic, radiant style that you simply are. Let's speak of your work ethic. Your fire is not the frantic, anxious energy of someone constantly scrambling. It is the steady, powerful, determined burn of the sun itself. You commit to your passions with your entire being. You do not give up when challenges arise. You see them as dragons to be slain on the path to your destiny. You persevere, you endure, and you inevitably reap the glorious rewards of your persistence. This is simply unbearable for the soul who quits at the first sign of struggle, who is forever seeking a shortcut to the glory you have earned through sheer force of will. And perhaps the most potent source of all, beautiful Leo, is your genuine heart of gold generosity. You give from a place of true abundance. You share without keeping a tally. You help without needing a parade in your honor. You uplift others naturally because you believe a rising tide lifts all boats. Your authentic kindness shines a brilliant, unforgiving spotlight on the transactional, self-serving nature of those who only give when there is an audience or when they are certain they will get something in return. As you absorb these words, my dear Leo, I know that specific faces, specific moments are beginning to surface in your mind. You are remembering that strange, hollow feeling after sharing good news with a particular family member. You are recalling a look in their eyes that was not joy, but something colder, something evaluative. You are replaying comments that were cleverly disguised as compliments, but left a toxic residue in your spirit. The awkward silences, the subtle dismissals. I need you to stop right here and honor what is rising within you. That confusion is real. That flicker of pain is valid. For years, perhaps, you have been made to question your own perception. You have been told or made to feel that you are being too sensitive, too dramatic, or making it all about you. You have been gaslit into believing that your royal intuition was nothing more than paranoia. It was not. Your perception is your superpower. Your feelings are your divine guidance system, and they have been trying to deliver this truth to you for a very long time. Your pain deserves to be seen, to be honored, and you do not have to carry it in silence for one more moment. Now let's venture into the even more tender territory. Who specifically in your family might be holding this toxic chalice of envy? The universe often places these shadow teachers in very specific roles to challenge us in the most profound ways. While every family dynamic is unique, there are certain archetypes that often emerge in the life of a radiant Leo soul. Sometimes the envy comes from a sibling, a soul who grew up in your immediate orbit. The sibling rival is the one who was constantly compared to you, who felt their own light was forever being eclipsed by your sun. Every achievement of yours felt like a personal failure of theirs. They love you, yes, but their love is tangled in a thorny vine of resentment, a lifelong feeling of having to compete for the warmth and attention that you seem to command so effortlessly. At other times, this energy can emanate from an older figure, a parent, an aunt, or a matriarchal figure. This is the matriarch of scarcity. This soul comes from a generation or a mindset where light was seen as a limited resource. They may have had to fight for every scrap of recognition in their own lives, and they simply cannot comprehend your natural abundance of it. They might have expected you to follow a more conventional, less shiny path, and your refusal to dim your own light feels like a personal rebellion against them. Their concern is often a desire to pull you back into the safety of the shadows where they reside. And then there is the outsider within. This could be a cousin, an in-law, or someone who married into the family. They entered the kingdom and immediately felt threatened by your natural position at its heart. You are the beloved, the center of gravity, and they feel like a foreign dignitary forever on the outside looking in. They envy your effortless belonging, the deep roots you have within the family structure, and they may work subtly to undermine your position, hoping to create a space for themselves. The signs of this familial envy are often cloaked in plausible deniability, but they are devastatingly consistent. This person is a master of the backhanded compliment. They will always find a way to subtly diminish your achievements. If you buy a beautiful new home, they won't celebrate with you. They'll quietly mention the high property taxes. If you find a wonderful new partner, they will be the first to plant a tiny seed of doubt about their character. They are subtly poisoning the well of your joy. They also have a strange and painful habit of forgetting you. They might accidentally forget to invite you to a small family get-together or neglect to pass on an important piece of information. This is not a memory lapse, beautiful soul. It is a subconscious, or sometimes a very conscious act of removal. Every moment you are not physically present is a moment where they can finally feel the spotlight on themselves without having to compete with your natural radiance. Pay close attention to how this person speaks of you when you are not in the room. If you are blessed with loyal family members who act as your emissaries, you have likely heard whispers of it. They paint a distorted portrait of you to others. Your boundless confidence becomes arrogance. Your heartfelt generosity is twisted into a manipulative need to be liked. Your regal calm is mislabeled as emotional distance or coldness. They are trying to rewrite your narrative to tarnish your image within the kingdom because they cannot bear the brilliance of the original story. This person may also have a disturbing tendency to appropriate your light. They will steal your ideas and present them as their own brilliant insights. They will recount your witty stories as if they happened to them. They will copy your style, your creative projects, your life choices, but always with a simmering resentment, because even when they mimic your actions, they can never replicate your radiant essence. And perhaps one of the most insidious tactics is their attempt to set you up for failure in public. At family gatherings, they will ask you pointed, invasive questions designed to make you uncomfortable. They will tell funny stories at your expense, exposing a past vulnerability. These are not jokes. They are targeted attacks, always delivered in a group setting, so that if you react, you are the one who appears overly sensitive. You are the one who can't take a joke. It is a cruel and calculated game. They may also attempt to sabotage your other relationships, to isolate you from your allies. They will whisper doubts about you to other family members, subtly misrepresent things you have said, and create false narratives that paint you as selfish or uncaring. Their goal is to diminish your circle of support, to make you an island so they can feel more powerful in comparison. What is perhaps the most heart-wrenching realization is that this energy has likely been present for years, perhaps even since you were a child. But your loving, loyal Leo heart was so determined to see the best in them, so focused on maintaining the harmony of the pride that you refused to see it. You made excuses for their cutting remarks. You justified their coldness. You accepted being treated as less than because the thought of causing a rift in the family was simply unbearable to your noble spirit. You, beautiful Leo, have a tendency to want to preserve peace at all costs. You are willing to dim your own light, to not share your biggest joys, to hide your most glorious achievements, all to avoid making someone you love feel uncomfortable or envious. But here is the profound, liberating, and perhaps brutal truth I need you to absorb into the very core of your being. You cannot control how they feel. It does not matter how small you make yourself, they will still find a reason to be envious, because the issue was never ever about what you did. The issue has always been about your very existence. Their envy is not your responsibility to manage. It is not your sacred duty to heal their insecurities. It is not your cosmic obligation to hide your God-given light so that they can feel more comfortable in their self-imposed shadows. You do not need to apologize for being confident when they are insecure, for being joyful when they are bitter, for creating a beautiful life when they feel trapped in their own. What you must do, my dear sovereign soul, is to begin to set sacred boundaries. This is your great lesson now. This is the moment you reclaim your throne. Stop sharing your precious plans and your most sacred dreams with someone you know in your heart of hearts is not cheering for you. Stop seeking their approval or validation. It is a well that will always be dry for you. Stop trying to prove your worth to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. This does not mean you must declare war. It does not necessarily mean you must banish them from the kingdom entirely, although in some extreme cases that may be the path to peace. What it means is that you must revoke their privileged all-access pass to your emotional world. They can be present at the grand family banquet, but they are no longer invited into the secret chambers of your heart. You can be polite, you can be cordial, you can be regal, but you no longer have to be vulnerable and raw with them. You must also release the deeply ingrained Leo desire to fix them, to heal them with your warmth. Their healing is their own sacred journey to undertake. You are not their savior. In fact, the more you try to help, the more you enable the toxic dynamic, casting yourself as the forever advantaged one, and them as the perpetual victim of your success. Protect your triumphs. Do not hide them in shame, but do not cast your pearls before those who will trample them. Celebrate wildly and loudly with those who genuinely delight in your joy. Share your victories with the souls who amplify your happiness, not diminish it. And I want you to understand this down to your very bones. Their envy is a cage of their own making, and it is destroying them far more than it is hurting you. While you continue to build your kingdom, create your art, and love with an open heart, they remain trapped in a lonely, bitter cycle of comparison that prevents them from ever building anything of value in their own lives. Envy is a self-imposed exile, and they are both the prisoner and the guard. There is something profoundly liberating, Leo, in accepting the truth that not everyone in your family will be in your corner. That a blood tie does not guarantee a soul connection. That you can love someone from a safe distance without sacrificing your own well-being on the altar of their insecurity. When you stop trying to force an authentic, warm connection where there is only shadow and chill, you liberate an immense amount of your precious fiery energy, and you can then reinvest that energy into the relationships that truly nourish and sustain you. Your chosen family, those loyal friends who have become your true pride. The souls who celebrate your wins as if they were their own, who defend your honor when you are not there, and who love you for your light, not in spite of it. These connections may be more sacred and true than some of the bonds you were born into. And that is not only valid, it is beautiful. You are not betraying your family by setting boundaries with toxic members. You are honoring yourself, and in doing so, you are honoring the true meaning of what a family should be, a haven of unconditional love and support. This entire experience, this painful and sacred lesson, is teaching you something invaluable. It is teaching you that your worth is inherent. It is not granted by anyone's approval, not even your family's. It is teaching you how to be generous without being naive. It is teaching you how to keep your magnificent heart open without leaving it vulnerable to the daggers of those who do not deserve access to its sacred chambers. You are developing a divine radar. You are learning to discern the difference between genuine admiration and hollow flattery. You are becoming a wise and discerning ruler of your own energetic kingdom. The process of setting these boundaries may create ripples. Other family members, those who prefer the illusion of peace over the discomfort of truth, may not understand. They may accuse you of being cold, of being arrogant, of causing trouble. They may pressure you to be the bigger person, which is often code for asking you to return to being a doormat for toxic behavior. Do not yield to this pressure. Your sacred peace, your divine light, is worth more than a fragile, false harmony that is built upon the foundation of your silence and your diminishment. Over time, you will notice a miraculous shift. When you stop engaging in the toxic dance, when you hold your sacred boundaries with calm royal authority, the envious person will have one of two reactions. They may eventually begin to respect you because your energy signature has changed. You are no longer an easy target for their projections, or they will retreat because they can no longer siphon your energy or derive their sick satisfaction from attempting to dim your light. In either outcome, you win your freedom. Leo, I want to etch this truth upon your heart. The very qualities within you that provoke envy in others are the very source of your divine power. They are your sacred gifts to the world. Do not ever hide them. Do not diminish them. Do not apologize for them. Keep being confident. Keep creating beauty. Keep leading with your heart. Keep being loyal to those who have proven themselves worthy. Keep working with passion. Keep giving with a generous spirit. The envy of another is never a reflection of your character. It is a reflection of the deep, cavernous emptiness in their own soul. You do not need to become less for them to feel like more. You do not need to fail for them to feel successful. You do not need to be unhappy for them to feel a moment's peace. Your sacred duty is to your own light. So keep shining, but with wisdom. Keep building your kingdom, but with protected borders. Keep loving, but with sacred boundaries. Keep being your magnificent, unapologetic self, but with the divine wisdom of knowing who deserves a seat at your royal table and who must be loved from outside the castle walls. If this message has touched your soul today, if you have seen your own story reflected in these words, know that this is your validation. Your intuition was right all along. Your feelings were not an overreaction. You have been navigating the treacherous waters of familial envy, and now you have the language and the spiritual framework to understand what you have always felt. Please share in the comments your moment of recognition. You do not need to name names or share painful details. Simply acknowledge your truth to reclaim your power. Let our comment section be a sanctuary, a gathering of radiant Leo souls who are choosing today to honor their own light. Subscribe to Cosmic Wisdom, because your journey of self-honor will require constant reminders of your worth, especially when the old dynamics try to pull you back into the shadows. You will need validation that your boundaries are an act of radical self-love. Turn on your notifications so you never miss the guidance that will continue to empower you on this sacred path. Remember, beautiful soul, your light only bothers those who have chosen to live in the dark. That is their choice, and it is not your problem to solve. Your problem, your divine, joyous, sacred problem, is to shine as brightly as you possibly can. The world needs your warmth, your creativity, your courage, and your magnificent, lion-hearted love. Just be a little more discerning about who you allow into your sacred garden. Not everyone has earned the right to witness your bloom. Go forth and be brilliant.